Hey guys, welcome to First Time in the Ring. If you're brand new to showing livestock, or you're a parent trying to figure this all out, you're in the right place. This podcast is for kids who don't know what questions to ask yet, who might feel a little left behind, or who might be walking into their first meeting or their first show thinking everybody else already knows what they're doing. I'm here to tell you, they don't. Today, we're starting from the very beginning, how to join FFA or 4-H, what the difference is, and how to know which one might be right for you. I'll be honest with you the whole way because showing livestock is a lot more fun when someone actually lends a hand. This episode is about starting from zero. You don't need animals yet, you don't need any fancy equipment, and you don't even need experience. This is simply about getting your foot in the door and knowing where to begin. Joining FFA or 4-H gives you access to shows, projects, and other adults who can help, and even other kids who are just starting to learn too. Trying to figure everything out alone is so overwhelming. And these programs exist, so you don't have to do this by yourself. So let's just start by talking about what 4-H is and what FFA is. And we can even go into a little bit about if you can do both 4-H and FFA, and then what kind of shows there are as well. There's the county fairs, the jackpot shows, and the major shows. 4-H is a community-based, project-focused, and great for beginners, searching for your county extension office to ask about livestock clubs, meetings, and deadlines. And you can meet other kids that are trying to do the exact same things as you are. It's outside of school, it's pretty flexible, and it starts just within your county. To go through and figure out how to join 4-H exactly, look for your county's extension office and ask about their livestock clubs, their meetings, and their deadlines. FFA is a little different than that, though. It's through your school program. You go through and you sign up for an agricultural-based class, and you go through and you learn a lot more than just about animals or showing. It's very structured, and it has leadership skills and competitions that you can join that aren't just about going through and showing. If you'd like to join an FFA chapter, you have to go through and talk to your school's counselor or your ag teacher or FFA advisor and talk about getting enrolled into an agricultural class, and they will help you figure out the rest. Depending on how old you are and if your school has an FFA chapter is going to depend if you're going to do one, the other, or both. Personally, through high school, I was able to do both. I did 4-H and FFA growing up, but I started off whenever I turned 8 into 4-H because you have to be 8 to enroll in 4-H. 4-H is through the ages of 8 to 18, and so I started when I was 8, but you can join any time in between then. Like my older sister started when she was 9. Many kids only start off with one of them, especially if you are older and you're trying to get into it. I would either start off with 4-H or FFA and doing one project at a time. Don't start with 4 million lambs all of a sudden, or 4 million steers or 4 million pigs. That's just a lot to take on all at one time. Now, let's move on to the different kind of shows there are. There are county fairs, jackpot shows, and major shows. So county fair shows include kids in 4-H and FFA. They're very beginner friendly, and that's where most people start off showing livestock. They don't immediately jump into jackpots or major shows unless their parents have been doing it their entire lives. Unlike mine, I started off with just doing county fairs, and I didn't even do state fair until I was in high school because it was just too much for me. Looking at jackpot shows, they're smaller than major shows, obviously. They are more frequent shows, and they're good for practice. There are a lot of local jackpot shows that you can attend. Most of the time, to find these shows, you just look on Facebook or Instagram and look up livestock jackpot shows in my area, and you can find them that way. I know, where I live, there's the Rocky Mountain Jackpot Series, and they have a bunch of shows with that. They post all the time about that. Now, when we move on to major shows, I'm talking about extremely large and competitive shows that are expensive, and they're either at your state or national level. So those all include state fairs, like Arizona National is a national show, Houston Livestock Show is a national show, the Nile or the Nail, those are both national shows, or at least regional shows. Those are for people who have been doing it for a little bit longer, who kind of already know what they're doing. You can jump right into them and try to go to them, but it's a lot harder whenever you don't have much experience. And let me tell you, I've done that before, and it's not a lot of fun. The advice I can give you, especially if you are just starting off, is start just by joining 4-H or FFA and start with your local county fair and see where that takes you. Maybe you fall in love with it, and maybe it's just not something right for you. If you start with 4-H and FFA, there are other kids there that are most of the time willing to help you. You just don't be afraid to ask. Most people are willing to help people who are just starting off. The biggest mistake is that people go through and they don't ask because they're too scared to look dumb. It's okay to look dumb. I've had to look so dumb in front of so many important people before to go through and finally get to where I'm at today. Don't be afraid to ask questions and don't take forever to ask them either. If you get confused about something, ask it up front and ask how to solve it up front. Even if you go to your 4-H leader or your FFA advisor, they might not know the answer, but they can point you in the direction of someone who does. And whoever they point you to would be willing to help you with that problem. Some other things people mess up on are buying an animal before joining. Don't get an animal before you join. Make sure that you have a place that you can show it and everything else. And also don't think that you're too late to start. It's never too late to start something that you could fall in love with. You can't tell yourself that it's too late to start because it's never too late to start. The other thing is don't compare yourself to kids who have been doing this their whole life. I know it's really difficult as you watch other people go in and just seem like they're a natural at everything and know how to do everything already and are already there. And it's just very overwhelming and hard not to compare yourself. But in all reality, they've had the people set them up for what they're needing to do. They've had people help them from the very start. You just don't have that same opportunity as them. So don't compare yourself to them. You are creating your own opportunity in your own ways. The other thing is also going back to asking questions, being afraid to speak up. Never be afraid to speak up. Sometimes even if you feel a little bit awkward at first and like you don't belong, it's not that you don't belong or that you're awkward. It's just you're trying something new that you've never done before. My other thing is that everybody starts somewhere. Everybody had to have a beginning part. Everyone had to start at some point. And asking questions shows that you are confident and it's not a weakness. Asking questions is one of the greatest things that you can do because as a sophomore or as a junior in high school, I asked questions. I was able to learn so much more and had so much more help. And I got to where I was because of it. I was able to go to state shows and place at state shows, get pulled for showmanship and do better than I ever had before and show livestock that were better than I ever touched before because of me asking questions. So it's not a weakness at all. And no one's expecting you to be perfect at the very beginning. Not a soul is expecting you to be perfect, but you do just have to start sometimes. You are not behind and not a soul is expecting you to know everything. Don't be afraid to ask questions early and don't forget that everyone starts somewhere. If today's episode helped you even just a little, just know you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Next time, we'll talk about what animals you should start with and what's realistic for first-time showmen. If you're nervous or unsure, stick with me. This has been First Time in the Ring, and I'll see you next time.